Hi, I'm Zaina, and this is my husband Chad. This is Akina, this is Tavi, and this is Baby Gray. We're a vegan, minimalist family of 5 living part-time on the road and part-time in a tiny house. Be sure to subscribe to join the adventure. Oh, and check out livingzeal.com for more info on our brand new plant-based cookbook.
Alright friends, welcome back to another Living Zeal video. Today we're going to be talking about why we are going to be building a shipping container home, how we're going to get there, why we're not doing other things, and
why you should maybe consider building a shipping container home as well.
Totally. So let's get right into it.
We made a little list. Sorry if we're looking down at our notebook here.
We mentioned, actually, if you've been following us for a really long time and pay very close attention, which honestly we don't expect many of you to do.
I'm sure there are some people. We love
Right?
you guys.
For you eagle-eyed viewers, we mentioned like 2 years ago in a video that maybe has like 800 views that we're going to be doing this.
So that's becoming a huge reality, getting the land, and then from there we're going to build our shipping container house. We've been talking more and more about that, but that's actually going to become a reality in the summer, early summer.
Yeah, well, let's just talk real quick about the bus and why we're moving into a shipping container house.
Okay.
I feel like that's a big thing itself. We love living in the bus. It's incredible. It's amazing. However, the one big caveat, obviously you guys can see it's freezing, cold, snowing, blizzarding. In a lot of our videos, it's snowing. And that gets really tricky in such a small space is for us and for our animals. When you're having to be inside because the weather outside is like so cold, we just feel like we want a little bit more space to be able to have more of a viable working living.
Stretch your legs.
Yeah, it's one thing if you're in a bus or a van conversion, you're in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, wherever, and then you can really enjoy the outdoors. And that's what we plan on doing this spring and summer. But before next winter, we're like, we need just a little bit more square footage
Right.
so that we can really enjoy that space, walk around. Sometimes I'm just in the bed all day when it's snowing. 'Cause I can't
And
go
so we're
outside.
going to start with a 9.5 foot tall, 40 foot long shipping container.
Yeah.
That's going to be our base. We're going to add on from that, but we're really excited to take Living Zeal along for that journey. So that's step 1, is get the shipping container onto land.
So yeah, it's been a big goal of ours for a really long time. And I think just with the pregnancy, for again, those of you guys that are really new, I am 7 months pregnant right now. So I think part of having a newborn baby on the way and just having our 2 animals, we really wanted to have a stationary home base. And since we've been living in this apartment and have been off the road, it's just been, obviously there are things we miss and love about full-time travel, but there are a lot of things that we just love about having a home to come back to day after day.
Totally. And the reason we're going with a shipping container home over your conventional tiny home on a trailer, or we actually even tossed around the idea of buying like a decommissioned school bus or city bus that doesn't even run anymore, putting it on land and then building out like that. But we're going to kind of run you through our thought process of what brought us to a shipping container home out of all of that. First off,
Why not a tiny home?
why not a tiny home? Tiny homes are adorable and you can move them, and they're super quaint. You can make them all custom. Well, we had an opportunity to go check out some tiny homes. What we realized when we were doing this sort of like tiny home tour was that although it's really nice, this is actually like a $90,000 tiny home. And although it's super nice, I'm 6'4" and I could barely even fit in the upstairs area or into the bathroom.
Yeah, having the double story wasn't really super great for you. Like if you're shorter, then having that like multiple square footage added on is really, really cool, but it just wouldn't be realistic. And then also having a little kid, like it's not super safe to have them going up to another loft.
So we actually got a chance to look at this tiny home because my parents went and stayed at We Casa in Lyons, Colorado. And actually the girl that worked there recognized us from Living Zeal, so she gave us like a tour of all... Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi, Beth. Shout out to Beth. She gave us a tour of like all of the tiny houses. So we got to see all of the different styles, the ones that were like cookie cutter that were just pumped out versus the ones that were really nice custom builds, and get a really good idea of exactly what we'd be getting into if we did a tiny house.
Yeah, if they have it still listed at their website to rent out, we'll pop up some images right now. But our favorite one was actually the least tiny house like one of them all. I think it was called like the Nun House
The
or
Nun
something.
House or something, because it was actually, a nun actually lived there and built
Yeah, and it didn't have the lofted ceilings. It was just one story a little bit wider, and we just really like single story homes.
So the reason we decided not to do a tiny home though is mostly just because of cost
Yeah.
and experience. experience. I want to be able to do, honestly, like 95% of this build, I want to be able to do myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to why we're not doing the big school bus, because we actually we wrestled with this idea for about a week. We were actually very excited about the potential of getting a school bus towed that like doesn't have an engine, and just dropped onto a piece of land and building something out of that.
Yeah. This was actually our main inspiration for a long school bus. We'll put that on the screen right now. A week sounds like a short time to have been considering it, but when Chad and I get going on an idea, we talk about it for hours every single day. So we kind of like through the process of discussing this over the course of that 7 days, came to the conclusion that well, first of all, it's about the same exact price as a shipping container. And then the most difficult thing with doing conversions, if you've built one out, is there are lots of weird odds and ends with the rounded ceilings and coming up to the windows. And it can be difficult to make all of those seams look perfect unless you're like really professional at doing that. So yeah, the nice thing about a shipping container is it's just a box and everything is right angles and it just comes in easily, like putting the insulation, putting up the wall panels. And that's just much more tricky to do when you have to like make little weird cuts.
After weighing out all of our options, we realized that a shipping container home is by far the best. We also came across just last week or the week before this video, which talks about this gentleman who's a DIYer and his shipping container home that he actually built out for about $17,000.
The moment we have all been waiting for, the grand total of the cheapest you can build a 40-foot container home for, not touching the outside, is $17,320. That's my cost if I did not pay myself a dime and I could do absolutely every single part of this myself, not including driving to get any materials, nothing. That is my hard cost. And also assuming you have every single tool you own.
For those of you guys that are patrons and listened to our podcast 2 weeks ago and already knew about our plans with the shipping container home, we were really planning on doing a 2 shipping container home because when we first started talking about the possibility of doing this 2 years ago, we came across this video that really inspired us.
It's really important for me for the designs to like function. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're inside of a container, so that in the design we had to address that. I've been in a couple of projects that are really attractive, but they don't function very well. And then you're like, well, I still feel that I'm in a metal box. If the final user has that feeling, like it was not a successful project.
It's great. It's so light in here.
That was the whole point. We wanted for it to feel like you were at a regular home. The idea is that when you were in here, you forgot where you were. You know, are we in Savannah or are we in Brazil? You know, like I wanted it to have that feel. Yeah, so you have right now it's being used as a bedroom.
So this actually is just right for a queen bed, no?
Yeah, but it's a little tighter, but it's great. It works perfect, you know? You can put up a structure like this for about $50K. I do know that anybody could do it, you know, like our studio creates plans that are almost do-it-yourself plans. But I always tell people, like, when you're embarking, you know, you're building yourself a structure, your house, you know, so there is a lot of concerns, you know, engineer and architectural, like you want to know that it's going to be safe and that it's going to install correctly.
We actually saw that video when we were traveling in Thomas 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've since referred to that as the Georgia house, which is kind of our dream house. And we just love the way that it's staggered. So you get 2 bedrooms on the end. It's just
the perfect size. Like we would never need more space than that. But ultimately, we're going to be on a little bit. We'll get into our timeline in just a second.
We ultimately want to do a single shipping container home. And I got Zaina on board actually after she saw this video last week, which is very popular, of an Australian man who did a single shipping container home.
Yeah, I was really inspired by that layout. Initially, I was afraid that one shipping container would feel too kind of claustrophobic and condensed. But after seeing that layout, it's more space than we've ever had. Like even this place that we're in now is just under 300 square feet. That single shipping container is 320 square feet, and with just the 3 of us, like once the baby comes here and our 2 cats, that's
gonna be awesome.
That's plenty of room.
Yeah.
But our hope is that someday, and the nice thing about shipping containers is you can add on in the future. So our hope is to either keep that first one that we're building as like a guest house or potentially add on to it in the future.
Yes. So We're looking at about $20,000 to build our shipping container home, and we're looking at maybe about 5,000 to 7,000 for the land.
Yeah, undeveloped, primitive land.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of you are probably scratching your head saying, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make that money? Well, we actually have a plan for that too, as we do whenever we have these huge endeavors. Since our last video, actually, we've picked up 2 more jobs.
Yes.
And
that's
we are
why
currently,
we haven't made very many
exactly.
videos.
Currently working 4 jobs right now to save this money.
Yeah. We kind of...
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, no, you go ahead.
A friend of mine reached out and told me that the place that she's working needs some servers. So I went and picked up a serving job here in Boulder.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be working full-time as a server, as well as full-time editor for Zainame and Make Living Zeal videos. And
then I'm still doing the VIP Kid Chinese classes online. So we have lots of stuff going on. Our sleep schedule is kind of crazy because I woke up at 3:30 a.m. this morning and Chad has to work at 4 o'clock tonight. So things are a little crazy, and we've kind of just accepted that that's what it's going to take to achieve this next big goal.
Yep. So the next 8.5 months are going to be filled with us doing research and finding land and designing our house and figuring out all the logistics.
So for those of you guys that are interested in doing a shipping container house, or you're just possibly considering it as an option, we wanted to go over all of the pros. So number 1, you're recycling something that would otherwise be sitting. Number 2, it's inexpensive. Used shipping containers are about $2,500 varying. New shipping containers are about $5,000 to $6,000. Easy to build in, we already touched upon that. Honestly, if you've ever done a conversion vehicle, we say no more. There's nothing else to say there. But they're not super easy to build in. So this is going to be much more easy and just simple. Easy to add on extra shipping containers. You can just cut out walls. They have a small carbon footprint. A lot of people build sort of like stilts or platforms for them, so they're not creating a lot of pressure on the actual land, which helps with reducing your carbon footprint. Less weight on land. Easier to do for a DIY project again.
That's the most important to us, because we have to look at this realistically. You know, I know we're not experts or professionals by any means. I want something that's going to be kind of easy that I can do. I want to be able to do most of the work. I don't want to hire people to have to come out and do stuff.
And it's not going to be easy. Like there's a lot to do with electrical and plumbing and all that kind of stuff, but easier.
Absolutely,
sure.
Yeah.
And then the one big con, I'm sure we actually kind of had a hard time thinking of the cons. I'm sure there are more that are on this list.
Let us know if you can think of any good shipping container home cons in the comments below. But we could really only think of one big one, and that is...
They're ugly. They're really not cute. But, I mean, if you look on Instagram, do a quick search for shipping containers, you can put side paneling on them and make them look super cute and modern. And then actually one other positive for them, there are several different YouTube channels that share about kind of the behind the scenes of building a shipping container home. And shipping containers are already recognized as like an architectural structure, whereas the rules with tiny homes are very kind of ambiguous right now. And even in Denver, there's like an entire shipping container complex. In Fort Collins, there's a shipping container complex. So it's kind of more recognized in terms of getting permits and stuff like that as a buildable structure.
Exactly.
We're just kind of in the mix of it right now. We're going to keep posting videos consistently, about 1 a week. We're probably not going to stick to like Wednesday uploads or Friday uploads, because if you've ever worked in the restaurant industry or the service industry, usually your schedule fluctuates a lot based on the needs of the restaurant. So we don't exactly know what days you're going to be working, but expect 1 video a week. And yeah, we love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. If you've been watching my videos on Zainame, then also thank you so much. And I guess that's it.
Yep. All right, well, live zealously, and we'll see you next week.
Cute. I think that was awesome. New video.
Yay. This is all the bloopers though, guys, sorry.
Yeah. Sit down talkie videos don't. That's what the lighting really is like.
Actually, I still gotta turn this light off. This is what the lighting's really like.
Probably looks super good.
Now we're gonna leave it. Oh, it looks great.
Oh gosh.